In the midst of a thick jungle, the excavation crew discovered a pipe that headed underground. Since the location was an old dormant volcano that was now entirely covered in grass, trees, and plants, this was a startling discovery. They made the decision to send a night vision camera inside the pipe to do additional research. The camera captured the image of a huge tunnel as it plummeted around 30 meters. The excavation crew was in the vicinity of Lublin, South Poland, in March 2018, and they were going to see something remarkable that was 30 meters below the surface. They were shocked to see a railroad track as the camera scanned the interior of the tunnel. They were wondering why the track was there when they noticed a mining cart in the distance. When local officials found out, they brought a map of a long-lost World War II tunnel. As it turned out, this tunnel had been sought after for years and had been built during World War II, some 80 years earlier. All evidence of the entrance's presence had been erased by years of earth and vegetation, which had sealed it with massive stones. The tunnels inside, however, matched the original map exactly. The tunnel was probably used to store supplies during the war, based on the tracks and mine carts found inside. Shovels, drill bits, and pickaxes were discovered in the identical state as when Nazi forces left them in the tunnel 8 decades prior, and the majority of the iron items within were severely rusted. Thousands of subterranean bunkers were built by nations like Nazi Germany and Japan during World War II. Although Adolf Hitler led the initiative at first, Allied forces soon adopted the use of bunkers and underground tunnels for strategic objectives. These bunkers were crucial for both offense and defense because they could be used as bases for attacks as well as to shield men from artillery shells and airstrikes. Germany's Atlantic Wall, a strong barrier against Allied forces, is one example of a defensive bunker that was frequently constructed on the front lines to impede enemy assaults. Additionally, some bunkers served as secret planning centers where commanders oversaw operations. There are so many subterranean bunkers and war rooms from World War II that it is hard to count them all now. Particularly in areas that were ruled by the Axis, thousands of these buildings are still underground. It is stated that the world experienced iron and cement shortages as a result of the massive investments made by both Allied and Axis countries in underground bunkers. According to estimates, the cost of constructing these bunkers ranges from $500 billion to $1 trillion in current money. Nazi Germany constructed the Atlantic Wall, a vast coastal defense structure that ran 2,400 miles, 3,800 kilometers, along the European coast and served as a barrier against seaborne Allied attacks. It was built between 1940 and 1944 and contained fortifications, ammunition depots, and thousands of bunkers. A portion of the Atlantic Wall in northern France reached the Normandy region, where reinforced artillery positions like Aslonges-sur-Mer were erected. Similar to this, portions of the wall in Norway guarded naval channels, and thousands of Stützpunkte bunkers were located along the North Atlantic coast of the Netherlands. Under the direction of German engineer Fritz Todt, this enormous architectural achievement, which included tunnels, artillery batteries, and underground bunkers, was built. In roughly 2 to 4 years, an estimated 260,000 laborers, many of them were prisoners, were compelled to construct these towers. The Dieppe raid, a crucial incident in 1942, forced the Allies to acknowledge the magnitude of the threat the Atlantic Wall posed, notwithstanding the fortitude of these defenses. In order to learn how the wall worked, Canadian forces attacked Dieppe in northern France. Over 3,600 Allied soldiers were killed or captured as a result of the attack's catastrophic failure. The necessity for the Allies to make significant investments in their own offensive and defensive infrastructure was highlighted by this setback. During World War II, British Prime Minister Winston Churchill's headquarters were located in London's Churchill's War Rooms, an underground complex built to withstand Nazi Germany's airstrikes. Similar to this, The Maginot Line in France was reinforced with new underground bunkers, but this did not prevent Germany from invading via Belgium. There were hundreds of subterranean bunkers constructed in Japan, including a huge network under Iwo Jima. Japanese forces were able to mount surprise attacks because to these secret tunnels, which contained living quarters, storage areas, and artillery positions. Given the continual fear of airstrikes and the material constraints throughout the war, the architectural feats of these bunkers are astounding. Thousands of bunkers were built in regardless of the difficulties, many of which are still hidden today, particularly those in areas under Axis control. Hitler's Eagle's Nest, a fortress-like retreat in Germany's Berchtesgaden Alps intended for private meetings and leisure, is one famous example. The Führerbunker in Berlin, where Hitler spent his last days, is another. Hitler's main headquarters for the most of the war was the Wolf's Lair, which is tucked away in northern Germany's woodlands. It was virtually unbreakable and unseen from above due to its high concrete walls and disguised facade. With more than 156,000 soldiers, 5,000 ships, and 11,000 aircraft, the Allies launched a major assault to breach the Atlantic Wall on June 6, 1944, often known as D-Day. Even though they suffered significant losses at first, the Allies were able to end Nazi Germany's hold on Europe. The enormous resources and human labor required for World War II are starkly brought to light by these historic bunkers. Remaining parts of these subterranean constructions serve as reminders of both the harsh reality of battle and the engineering prowess of the time.